to the first episode of Innovation at EPNE, hosted by Judith Quinn and Lindsay Park. We aim to produce a series of podcasts to showcase the excellent work that's taken place around the college. And today we've got the privilege of being with one of our fantastic colleagues, Chris McMahon for Public Services. And Chris, we've already heard about the great project-based learning work that's been going on in the area. Can you tell us what was the reasons about why you wanted to do something different with your teaching approach?
Yeah, of course. And so the main aim was, as you say, just to do something that a little bit different, be a little bit innovative where we can. We were in a fortunate position that we'd switched across awarding bodies from Pearson to NCFE. So we were starting a new program of delivery as such. So it was, a new start. So we delivered year one along, just as normal, modular delivery. And then it was the year two when we thought that students would potentially be a little bit ready for a little bit more innovation and something a bit different in the classroom. So that's where we then decided to start our project-based learning at our level 3 year twos.
Brilliant. So Chris, if we focus a little bit on the project that you did with Northumbria Police, and if you could just start by telling us what was the driving question or the live brief that the students were given.
So we had Northumbria Police come in and do one or two introductions before the brief was actually launched, and it was around community tensions within the local area. So sexism within the police, female safety, the children, young adults feel safe, the youth feel safe in the local area, and then from there it was the driving question as such was, what are young individuals' perceptions of the police with regards to those community tensions. So there was one overriding brief, but the students all had different focuses, as such, with regards to the project. So some might be looking at racism, sexism, safety. So we had a number of different things to look at, but that was the overriding question was, what is the public perception with the police in regards to how they handle those community tensions?
You can see how relevant that is, can't you, to our some career-focused curriculum. That sounds really interesting, Chris. But why was it so important to have the police completely involved in the design, delivery of this PBL?
So just to make it real, we could have delivered that project ourselves internally, but it's what Northumbria Police community engagement team do, or a small part of their role is to gather information with regards to public perception, particularly from young individuals. So, the police came in to launch the brief, and it just brings it to life that little bit more, because then students, as you say, with that career-focused curriculum, are getting an insight into what they might do on a day-to-day basis, and it's just building those aspirations for students as well to think, there's different roles, because some of the community engagement team aren't actually PCs, they're not like cops as such, they're civilians, and I don't think our students were aware of those different roles within the police. So it's good to open their eyes a little bit with, different roles that I could potentially progress to post education as well.
I think you probably covered a bit of this, but what do you think has been sort of the main outcomes and impact from the project? So I suppose for yourself and for the students.
I mean, I could talk all day with regards to how I feel about like the impact of. Probably talk for me anyway with regards to how the students felt on it. We try to cover do our learning across a number of different learning aims, learning domains, and like the social and affective domain in particular, where we're trying to build students' motivation, self-esteem, confidence via the collaborative learning that they've done within this project, because they've done it in small groups. And like for us as a teaching team, or myself and James, who've delivered this to the level 2s, that's been the big area of focus to increase that confidence and the collaboration, the communication, motivation, engagement as well. That's been really, really massive, because the students have actually been doing real work that they want to do moving forward. So like we've seen like the engagement has increased, motivation. Students have sounds silly, but students have been coming to us with questions about what can we do, and we rarely see that when it's being modular based. It's just kind of whether it's just we're in the normal grind as such of assignment 1, 2, 3, 4, and with the projects it's not been like that, and it's been a massive one for us, that motivation and targeting those effective and social domains of learning as well. And then obviously we've had high grades. The grade profiles have increased. I think I've shared those with you, Judith. I remember the grades from when we've done this last year. Attendance, all the metrics that are key focuses for the college have increased doing the project. But again, it's for us as teaching staff, it's probably more so like the benefits for the students with regards to this collaborative learning and working together and those critical skills that they need for 21st century employment, whether it be communication, critical thinking, collaboration, all those kind of things.
And a lot on what you've said there, Chris, is a lot about behaviours and attitudes as well, and those wider skills, isn't it? So important, isn't it? And I know when we talk about impact, I think when you're trying to get teaching staff in particular to think differently and try something new, I think to hear about actually that effort you've put in as a team at the beginning and how you've prepped the students, but then also the positive benefits for yourselves as teachers, but also the students is so sort of really great to hear.
I think that's one of the issues, and if you start something new, is that teacher change. Because sometimes teachers are afraid to make the change if they don't know the perceived benefits. They don't know how. They're a little bit less experienced, with project-based learning and things like that. So I can see why some teachers might not want to make that change. Fortunately, and I know you probably hear this, but James, don't like to give him too much credit, but James and we've worked together on this just at that, because we've been only lecturers on level 3 year 2, so it's been fantastic for us to work together because we both had the same vision, if you like, with regards to what we want to do. But I could see how there could potentially be challenges if you have a wider team delivering, to get everybody on the same page. But for us, we would recommend anybody to try, if possible, to make the switch to project-based learning because of all the perceived benefits that we've seen.
And Lindsay and I are real sort of advocates of this project-based learning as a teaching approach. I know we've obviously spoken for the last couple of years around this. Was there anything regarding the college about how we would support other teachers to do this? Did you receive any training or support?
Yes, I was involved in the training with Nina set up with Cert College across, was there about 18 months, I think. We had like the remote stuff, so I was in that, and then it was the summer 21 when we had our curriculum manager at the time, Mark, was in. He was very much forward thinking with regards to the PBL, on the same page as the college, and that's when we decided to make the switch. So we had a lot of support from management like Mark, and then obviously John as well. And then when Sean came back in, he's the same. He wants us to continue with the project-based learning and try and roll it out a little bit more if we can as well. So we've had lots of support and guidance, and obviously Nina was around when we were, our tutoring manager was helping us if we had any questions and things like that. But it's, we've had lots of support with it. Definitely.
Thank you. Brilliant. So this will be the second year of using project-based learning. So what's next then, Chris, and what developments are you making?
So we second year, we've still only with the level 3 year 2s, but the developments now, we would like to embed it into level 3 year 1 as well. So we're actually going through that planning stage now within CPDs on our Wednesday afternoon to see how we can, match some units together and, different learning outcomes, different units for different projects. We don't want to do it too much at level 3 year 1 because, if we have some school leavers, 16-year-old, it might be a little bit daunting for them to come in. That's why we've rolled it out at level 3 year 2 to start, but I think we do feel like we need to put it into level 3 year 1 just to give them a little bit of an idea of what's to come. So we're looking at a career planning aspect where Northumbria Police, potentially, and other services, fire service, the army, almost do a recruitment package with the students. So from September, they'll go through all the different aspects that they need to do to then potentially have an interview, albeit a mock interview, towards the back end of the academic year. And it's almost like a long and thin project, if you like, with regards to the fitness elements, the confidence of communication, any of the case studies that they might need to do in like role plays and things like that, depending on which service they want to go. So that's what we're very early in the planning, but that's what the next step for us is. And we'd like to see it then around the college as much as possible with different teams as well. It's something that we definitely think we should be used more, pushed out more if possible.
And Chris, I know again that you're studying your master's degree at the moment. Has there been any links with your teaching practice and the changes you've made around PBL or how you've worked as a team and how that's sort of impacted on your master's degree?
Absolutely, yeah. Fortunately, on my master's, I've had a advanced pedagogies unit. Easy for me to say that, and innovation in professional practice. So the project-based learning, I've done a lot of the research around PBL based across those two modules, those two units, and it's just gave me more confidence that what we're doing is the right thing for not only us as a college, but obviously the students as well. in terms of, as I say, that effective demeanour learning, in terms of motivation, self-esteem, confidence, etc. That's been a big thing for me with regards to the Masters.
And remind me again, what's your Masters in?
It's physical education and well-being.
Okay, well, good luck with that. Look, I know it's a lot, isn't it? But it's
Nearly there, touch wood, reaching the summer, so...
And I think just to sort of wrap up, I know when I was hearing again about sort of how you'd be working with these students and you'd really be working closely with Northumbria Police, I heard about how our students had then changed the practice of Northumbria Police. And obviously as an anchor institution and what we're wanting to do across the whole of the North East is really important to us. So just talk us through a little bit about that.
I mean, that for me, in my opinion, was the biggest overriding outcome of this project. Our students were gathering that public perception with regards to Northumbria Police in the local area. They were then feeding that back to the Professional Standards Department of Northumbria Police, which then led to one or two changes being made. One of those changes was they need more of a face, if you like, on social media, Northumbria Police, because young people are a little bit scared of cops. They're not real people. So one of the ideas as such was to have a more focus on social media about the individual. And then another thing was the identification as well. If you're a little bit unsure, it was hot off the heels of the awful case with Sarah Everard in female safety. Young people almost from the feedback, don't trust the police. So it was to ensure that when police officers might have to carry out stop and search, ways and means of asking a police officer to show ID so they're aware of who that police officer is and he's there for the right reasons. Those were the two big findings as such from although there was lots of feedback, but those were the two overriding biggest outcomes as such. And then, as I said, John May from Professional Standards Department at Northumbria Police is then, it is taking time, slowly rolling out those changes for our Northumbria Police moving forward.
Really powerful, challenging, very topical, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So Chris, thank you so much for being our first and sort of test case regarding innovation. And I think it's been really sort of useful, and just having that chance to sort of stop and think about the excellent practice across the college, but also just that encouragement of staff to try and think differently and think boldly, and about how that can then influence and really impact on the college, the region, the students is so good to hear, isn't it? It's brilliant. Thank you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Very good.
If any staff are interested in hearing more or talking more about PBL, please be in contact.